will end and we will be overrun by jihadists tonight are trying to use fear. They want to take just a little bit of your liberty, but they get it by making you afraid. They want you to fear and give up your liberty. They tell you if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. That's a far cry from the standard we were founded upon, innocent until proven guilty. One of the objections that I tried to bring forward earlier, but was interrupted repeatedly, was that the Patriot Act was originally intended to go after foreigners and terrorists. We allowed a less than constitutional standard. We didn't ask for probable cause. We just said it had to be relevant. The information had to be relevant to an investigation about terrorists. But here's the problem, and this is one of the big problems I have with the Patriot Act. We now use parts of the Patriot Act to arrest people for domestic crime. Section 213, sneak and peek, where the government can come into your house, place listening devices, and never announce that they were ever in your house, and then leave, and then monitor your behavior, and never let you know they've been there, is being used 99.5% of the time for domestic crime. So little by little, we've allowed our freedom to slip away. We allowed the Fourth Amendment to be diminished. We allowed the narrowing, the loss of something called probable cause. People say, well, how would we get terrorists with that? The vast majority of warrants are approved in our country. The vast majority of warrants that are Fourth Amendment warrants, where we individualize them, put a name on, and ask probable cause. If the police tonight are looking for a rapist or a murderer, they will go to the house, and if they suspect they're inside, but nothing is imminently happening, they will stand on the curb and call the police. And they almost always get a warrant. Do you think there's a judge in this land that would not grant a warrant, particularly after the Boston bombing, to look at Sonara Boys' records, the Sonara Brothers' records? There's not a judge in the land would say no. I would venture to say that in advance, there's not much chance that a judge would say no if you went to them and said, the Russians have given us indication and evidence that he has been radicalized and associated overseas with people who are training to attack us. There's no reason why the Constitution can't be used. But we just have to not let those who are in power make us cower in fear. They use fear to take your freedom. And we have to be very, very careful of this. Now, some are saying I'm misrepresenting this. I'm saying the government's listening to your phone calls. I'm saying they're collecting your phone records. There are programs, though, in which there may be looking at contact. Emails, for example. The current law says that after 6 months, even the content of your email has no protection. We have a very good piece of legislation to try to fix that. But realize, those who are loud, those who are really wanting you to give up your freedom, that they don't believe the Fourth Amendment protects your records at all. And this is a big debate. We went to the court, the Second Court of Appeals, the highest court in the land, just below the Supreme Court, said that what they're doing is illegal. But we don't yet have a ruling on whether it's constitutional. One of my fears about the bill that we're going to pass, the sort of in-between step that some think it may be better, is that it will moot the case. This means that the court case may never get heard at the Supreme Court now. I have a court case against the NSA. There's another district court that has ruled against the NSA. We now have an appellate court ruling against the NSA. The court may well look at the activity of the Senate and say, well, you guys have fixed the problem. We don't need to look at it anymore. It's no longer relevant. My other concern about this new bill that's going to pass is the same people will judge it that judged the previous system. These people are called the rubber stamp courtroom, also known as FISA. Realize that the FISA court is the court that said that the collection of all American records is relevant.